Hey everyone, Andrew here from the Pickleball Diaries podcast. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit like and hit subscribe down below. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes or any other podcasting network, make sure you give us a 5-star review at the end of the episode. It only takes a couple seconds of your time. It just really helps us out in the algorithm so we can keep bringing you this awesome content. All right, back to the episode. Thank you guys. This episode is brought to you by Addias Pickleball, your premier destination for high-quality pickleball paddles designed to elevate your game. At Addias, they are committed to providing players across Canada with innovative, performance-driven pickleball paddles crafted for durability, precision, and ease of play. Irene and myself are currently using their Gen 3 Pro paddle, and if you head over to Addias.com and enter the code AGorman15, you get 15% off your order. That's AGorman15 at Addias.com. All right, on with the show. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Pickleball Diaries podcast. I'm, of course, Andrew Gorman, joined, as usual, by certified pickleball referee Victor Chan. How's it going, Vic?
Good. Has been a pretty tiring weekend because of refereeing this tournament. We'll get into it. And Andrew Erin obviously came over to play. It was good to see them.
Yeah, and mixed results that weekend. But before we get into our weekend, there was a divorce that happened that just got announced.
I won't say it's a divorce. There's kind of like a calculated separation. I call that.
Wow. They're giving the Kardashians a run for their money for how short the marriage lasts.
Yeah, well, I don't know if everyone knew. Well, anyone. I guess we kind of foreseen it anyway. Federico Stakstrud, the number one PPA player in singles, is actually now being released by Addias. Well, it's actually not released. Well, I can say that it's a mutual separation. That's what they call. So basically, what Fed said after careful consideration, Addias and I decided to mutually conclude our partnership. The team put in incredible effort working closely with me to create paddle design for my game. I'm grateful for their professionalism, dedication, and trust. Thank you to everyone at Addias. I'm looking forward to see how they contribute to grow the sport. Basically, just say, in my terms, it just means Addias, you guys suck, and I'm just leaving you guys because I give you like almost a year to try to develop my paddle, and then you're still not able to. See ya. I think you guys suck at pickleball. That's what it means.
Well, it wasn't even a year; it was basically 5 months. So
yeah, kind of.
Well, I'm like, dude, a lot goes into research and development stuff.
Well,
like,
I can show you that. I can show you this
impatient.
paddle. Right, if you can look at YouTube, this is the supposedly Federico Staskrud's signature paddle, right? That Metabone EVA, and he doesn't even use it. So you're like, why even slapping his signature right here on it? Like, what the hell is going on? And then there's a lot of different things that we're thinking. Think about like. Addias is a global brand. They have so much money, right? They have so much, even research and development. They have basically everything. But for some reason, every time they try to develop a racket or paddle, why I say racket is because in tennis they actually try to break through again into the tennis world with a tennis racket. They have been Addias have been a long time ago has some tennis racket, and then for some reason they didn't win well, and then they try again into I will say to 2010 area. They try again to develop tennis racket, and it was a totally gong show. It was a big failure. There's no one is even buying their racket. So it just turns out that it's a failure. And same again with tennis paddles, like that pickleball paddles. Sorry, it's a total disaster. It's like just nothing has the. It, do you see people play with this? No, I haven't hardly see anyone play with this, right? Okay, I agree. This is only UPA approved, right? So it's only PPA tour. You can only play on PPA tour on the or the MLP. But if you look at in the challenger event or even like some like into the qualifiers, no one is using Adidas paddle. No one, absolutely no one, right? But you can see Fed haven't even used the Adidas paddle almost at all, right? He was using his Yola the whole freaking time during when even he signed with Adidas. So it is a marketing and PR disaster basically for Adidas.
Yeah, like I think that's yeah, because what he used it for that one tournament where he got knocked out like super early, and then the very next weekend he was back to using the YOLO, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah.
he used it. Yeah, exactly. He used it in the singles of the first tournament of the year in um during PPA, and then he got knocked out so quickly, and then I think he used it one more time during at the MLP, and he never he never picked up Adidas paddle since basically.
Yeah. So I
So
guess on the bright side for Eula though, now they can go in and lowball him with a sponsorship thing. It's like, hey, we don't have to pay you as much as we used to because you were using our paddle even when you weren't being paid by us.
well, yes, and some sort or also is like a good marketing for Yola, basically, right? So, like, basically, they could almost advertise, "Hey, you see that Fed hasn't loved our paddles. Just continue to be using our paddle, and
Yeah.
not using another company's paddle." So, yeah, so unfortunately, it did not work out for Fed, and I will say Adidas will soon be wiped out from the map soon.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so like I unfortunate because I would have liked to see some type of new paddle get developed to at least, kind of knock down the big three, I guess. So you got Eula, Selkirk, and I guess what Paddle Tech would be the next one.
Yeah, kind of. I will say. Yep.
More so in the US. Like Paddle Tech you don't see as much up. Well, at least here in Alberta you don't see it as much. But but yeah, it would have been nice to have another brand come in and like, give the give the event a shot in the arm a little bit to see if people will switch over. Because other than that, what do you have? There's a couple people with Franklin's who are high level. Engage has a couple, but not many. But it's basically predominantly Yola and Selkirk right now. Because
Exactly.
even Proton's losing people.
Yeah, well, Proton's losing people due to the fact it's very difficult to buy their paddle. First of all, it's not very readily available to the public. That's one. There's getting out of stock so often. Second problem with Proton is that they're so expensive. Like basically, it's about the same price of the Yola. So people's
Yeah,
like,
and don't they wear out
"Wh-
quicker?
no, it's about the same. I'll
Okay.
say the people like I've been following the Discord. They have been kind of like the QC is about the same as the Eula, so they kind of breaks about the same about the same time period. But the problem is like Eula, if you break when you warranty it, they can send it to you right away. Versus Proton, you might have to wait a couple of months before you get it. So
Yeah.
you're basically down with your proton, and once your proton is gone. So this is one of the biggest problem. Like you said, yeah, we would like to have other companies to bigger companies to jump into the pickleball, and so far there's none, right? If you look at some we call legacy tennis company, so the Wilson, the Head, Prince, and then you even Adidas. Technically, those those companies never actually broke through the pickleball space, right? Who's
No, they
using a
all they
Head?
all have like beginner paddles, like, but they don't have like what you'd call competitive paddles.
Exactly. You look at Head. Okay, you have only Kelly Joe Smith, but even the paddle that she's using is like a Gen 2 paddle that's kind of obsolete compared to compared to current Yola that you're using. And then you look at Wilson, they did put a new paddle this year. It's called the Vesprin, but it's nowhere near the performance of a Yola Gen 4. So you're the Perseer 4 Pro. So you're like, okay, that's not happening again. You look at Prince. Prince is gone since Simone Jardim signed with Yola, so it does not even exist into the map. And Adidas, well, I guess now they got Fed is out. They only have Mary Humbert. That's only signed pro. That's still using Adidas. Oh no, sorry. There's another Rafa Hewitt that's also using Adidas paddle, but that's all. If you now don't have Fed anymore, is pretty is your brand is pretty much gone.
Yeah, it's tough. Like as someone who's sponsored by what we would definitely call a smaller company. Now, Anivia is massive in on over in Asia, a lot bigger than it is here in Canada, even though it started in Canada. But like still one of the only people in Alberta who's not in BC. There's quite a few higher level players in BC that are using it. But if we're just talking pros, it's like Nathan Choi, and that's about it. And Nathan's not playing like CMPL this year. He's like
Well,
doing other stuff this year, right?
well,
So
same thing. Eugene used to use Anivia, right? And then now Eugene is using Yola.
yeah.
So you see, they also lost some additional exposure in the Canadian space. So it's tough. I would say obviously those bigger company has more, the more exposure they get, also the more players is gonna go get their paddles, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Well, because you kind of saw that in Alberta here, like originally when before Brad Chapman was with Selkirk, he was using Poach, and all of a sudden you saw the big fad of everyone using Poach paddles, and then
yes,
before that,
exactly.
like Steve Deacon was using Head, so you saw the big influx of Head paddles, right? But then now it's like, well, Brad's with Selkirk, so there's still kind of that high Selkirk vibe. In especially in southern Alberta, you see a lot more. You see a lot more Selkirk. In up in Edmonton here, we see kind of a good mix of a little bit of everything. But we don't really have like a local pro that is
Hmm.
connected to a brand that everyone sees. Everyone's just kind of going off of, okay, I tried this paddle out. Or they all go to Victor and they say, okay, what
Yeah,
Vic,
just like
go to with my style of game, Vic, what paddle works, and then they all adjust to that. So
exactly. They just try out my paddles. Like, oh, go get that.
yeah. But yeah, on that note, we'll switch over. So this last weekend was the season opener in Spruce Grove. Vic, of course, was reffing the whole weekend. He was gassed by the end of it. I happened to glance over, and he was basically toast. Irene and I, of course, competed. Irene in the all three events were 4.5 and above events. The first day, Friday, Irene was playing with one of her regular partners, Mai, in the women's 4 or 5, and you could tell right off the bat that they were both a little rusty. So Irene had been in the UK for 2 weeks. Taking care of some family business, so hadn't played in 2 weeks. And then Mai apparently had been really busy with work. So both of them basically had 2 weeks off of no pickleball. And at 4 or 5, that's a little too long.
Hmm.
So they were a little rusty. It was round robin. And they lost. They went 2-2, and they realistically should have either gone 4-0 or 3-1 at worst. And going 2-2 basically cost them the chance to go to the finals, because with round robin, it's 1-2 play for gold, 3-4 play for bronze. But just so everyone kind of gets the picture of what I mean by they were rusty. So by the time they came around to like their last 2 games, so their last game of the round robin, they played the team that ended up winning silver. and beat them 15-5.
Ouch.
Right, and then they went on to the bronze game and won 15-7. So not really even super close matches, right? So definitely that was a factor. So lesson learned a little bit with that. But like it was a family emergency for Irene in the UK, so we'll get back to drilling. We actually just came back from practice from club today, so we got lots of good matches in there. We'll definitely be drilling a lot more as we get closer and closer to other tournaments and nationals. So, but overall, still got on the podium with the bronze, so that's good. However, though, me and Irene in the mixed did not play well. Same thing, little rusty, and then I was trying to overcompensate and do too much, so I was playing out of like my realm of my game, and we lost two straight and got knocked out right away. The one thing we'll note, so that was double eliminate, that was regular bracket play, double elimination. However, because of weather, this was supposed to be an outdoor event, but it got the first 2 days, the Friday women's and then the mixed Saturday, got moved to the EPC Center. However, because it was last minute, they were strapped for time for court rentals. So all the brackets got changed to 1 game to 15.
Yeah.
On the A side as well, not just on the B side. Which, like, I understand the reasoning why they had to do it, but it sucks when you're mentally prepping for a 2 out of 3 event, and then all of a sudden you got to play 1 game to 15, because obviously the adjustments, you can't make the adjustments as easily because you have to make them on the fly super quick.
Yeah, it's almost rally scoring kind of.
Basically, right. So. Still not an excuse. Still, like, I'm not using that as an excuse why me and Irene lost, because like we didn't execute our game plan. The teams we played did, and they played well and beat us. But definitely, like, both of the teams we've played, we have beaten before, and like I don't want to say beaten handily, but we beat them on a regular basis. Yeah. So like.
Teams that you should have win, basically.
Yeah, teams that we should be. Like, realistically, if I'm looking at all the teams there, me and Irene probably were the second ranked team going into that event. And we clearly didn't play like it. So, but hey, that happens. It happened in actually a couple other divisions too. When I was glancing over and I was like looking at some of the teams who I recognized, it's like, oh yeah, it should be these 2 teams in the final, and there was quite a few where it did not turn out that way at all. We weren't the only ones who were affected by it, but then, like I said, between the rust and then us not playing our game and getting sucked into the other team's game, and that's kudos to the other team for sucking us in to their game plan. Just not happy with our mix with that. And like I said, at 4-5 and at the level of the teams we were playing, if you don't play your best, there's no way you're winning, because all those teams will beat you.
Yeah, definitely.
And then for Fridays, or not Friday, for Sunday when it was the men's, so that went back outdoors because the weather was good. So that went back to the usual brackets. If you were in a bracket, it was A side 2 out of 3 matches, games to 11. Once you got knocked down to the B side, 1 game to 15. The usual. You can work your way back up to the finals. I played with Cam. It was my second time playing with Cam. We had played together at the CNPL qualifier in Vernon in rally scoring. So this was our first time playing regular side out. And I can honestly say we played really well. The biggest thing that happened to us was in our very first match, Cam hyperextended his knee pretty badly. And so we won our first one. We actually won all of our matches until we got to the semis. We won in straight sets. And in between matches, Cam was at like the medical spot, icing his knee. Luckily I had a compression knee sleeve in my bag, so I lent that to him for him to use. But as the day went on, his leg got progressively worse. So by the time we got to the semis, and it was still an insanely good match. We played Chris and his partner Jason. We lost the first set 12-10. Second set, I want to say it was like 11-8 or 11-9 or something like that. So it was super close and super long rallies, but like they noticed the limp starting to show, and so they were exploiting that, which is what they should be doing. So I'm never upset when a team notices someone's having a hard time and then you attack it in a tournament. So we dropped down to the B side of the bracket into the bronze game and played the team we played in our first game and handled them well. I want to say it was like 15-7 in the bronze game. So then we moved back up to the finals where then Chris and Jason are twice to beat. So we had to play them. If we beat them in a 2 out of 3, then it would have been 1-15. Now we didn't get that far, but it did go to the third set. But by the time we got to the third set, Cam was literally on one leg, and you could see it. So we ended up losing that one 11-6 in the finals to lock up the silver. But super happy with the way we played. Me and Cam meshed really well. Good communication. I will say that Cam plays very similar game style to you. So which explains why it works so well with me, because like for those of you who don't know, me and Vic have only played together a couple times, but we meshed really, really well right away because Cam's very similar to Vic. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, we also know because we talk so much too, right? But it's also like Vic is very much drive heavy, like aggressive, and so is Cam, and then I am the the reset, the counter puncher, set my partner up type of guy. So it was basically the same. It was basically like I was replacing Vic with Cam, and it was basically the same similar styles. Like Cam's not as experienced as Vic, so obviously couple decision makings between the two of us probably wouldn't have happened if it was Vic playing. But like Cam still played really, really well.
And he's on one leg. Don't forget.
And he's on one leg. He was on one leg, and we still forced a third set in that finals.
Exactly.
So like I can only imagine how it would have gone if he had his full movement, because there was a couple shots where like he would drive and they would punch it back to his backhand, and then he could not push off that right leg to get to the ball.
Yeah.
So like I gotta say, like if he had his full movement, I gotta say we probably, I think at bare minimum we would have pushed it to the single game to 15, and then it could have been anyone's game at that point.
Yeah. Would you think about stacking in this case, stacking you on the left rather?
I was asking. We were talking about that, but
there's no backhand, right?
Yeah, it wasn't once he got up to the line was where he was having a problem. It was the movement forward, and then if they attacked him while he was trying to transition. So like that forward stop and shoot off to the side, that's where they were catching him. So like and then they were serve returning everything, majority of the shots to him.
Wow, sure.
So like, which may obviously makes sense, right? Because then you have him on his back feet, he has to hit it forward and then come forward. Whereas then I can get up to the line, but then unless I'm gonna massively poach and like take way too big of a chance and expose the other side, I can't really, like, they can keep me over, right? So because once we were at the kitchen line and dinking, it wasn't as big of an issue. Like he was able to move, and Cam's a pretty tall guy. He's about 6'1". He's got a good wingspan, so he's able to cover a lot of the court. But yeah, they were catching him in the transition zone is where they were really catching him, especially if he drove, because he would drive. I would come up to look for a possible shake and bake, but if it wasn't there, they would go back to him. And normally, then all it is you walk in, you fourth shot drop it, and then you're up at the kitchen line. But the way they were doing it is they were making sure they punched it to that backhand.
Yeah.
If he didn't get all of the drive in, and then he's coming forward, and then he's got to push off mid stride, and then of course he'd still get the paddle out, but then he's not making as good of a drop shot, so a lot of times it would pop up, or it wasn't enough that he could come forward all the way, so then he's stuck in that transition zone, and then they would just attack that. So
gotcha.
But yeah, no, that was smart play by Chris and Jason to exploit that. So, but like I said, if he had that full movement, I think we would have got up to the kitchen line a lot more and been able to at least have, then it's a 50-50, because both teams were really good, had really good short, soft games. And there was hand battles galore once we were up there, where I want to say I won 90% of the ones I was in. So then they stopped trying to hand battle me. But
with your cut, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've been starting to do some of them against my guys sometimes, just to mess them up.
It's just enough backspin when you cut when you're in a hand battle that if they try to forehand topspin it, a lot of times it goes into the tape. Because it's funny, because everyone's like, oh, you pop that up high. I'm like, yeah, but there was so much backspin on it that unless you hit that perfectly, a lot of times you're putting that into it. And that's just from ping pong.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, other than that, really happy with the way I played in that 4-5. That's actually my first medal at men's 4-5. Like me and Irene have won lots of medals at 4-5. But it's been obviously because of me not having consistent male partner. It's taken me longer to work up into like the 4-5 categories for men. So I was really happy with how we played. And yeah,
Nice.
look forward to competing at 4-5 at nationals. Now, unfortunately, Cam can't make it. Vic can't make it. So I am grabbing a random person for both days because there was one other person I tried to contact, but they ended up not being able to go. So I'm playing with.
Did you contact that Julian?
Yeah, he's not going anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
too bad.
So no, I did message him, but yeah. So I'm playing with a gentleman from Winnipeg who's 35. So we'll be playing in the 4.5, 35 and over category. So.
Okay.
And looking at the teams in that, like, and obviously I haven't seen my partner play before, but I think if he can hold his own and hold his own decently well, we should have a decent chance at podium at that. So, and we have
Nice.
aside from the, and I think we avoid all the pros just because of our age category. So now me and Irene, on the other hand, at nationals don't, but
It's okay.
but it'll be fun. But yeah,
it's always a good experience.
Yeah. But yeah, so the season opener, like, yeah, weather issues the first days. I would have, because the only thing that annoyed me with that was we knew 2 weeks in advance that weekend was going to be horrible for weather, and it never changed. So I would have liked them to have that backup plan in place a little bit quicker, so that way you didn't get screwed over with the times. Either that or turn everything into round robin for those 2 days. And I know that causes more time issues, but like when you're playing double elimination bracket and it's 1 game to 15 on the A side, that's frustrating for people who have to travel a lot.
Yeah, but the ironic side is that Friday and Saturday during that play time frame, it did not rain outside. It was sunny, bright, sunny outside.
No, not for on the Friday. It wasn't. As someone who was driving to Edmonton,
well, and then it was quite sunny. It was quite sunny during that.
It was pouring rain when I arrived at EPC on Friday.
Well, that was afternoon though. That was like if they started at like the regular timing at 8:30
a.m.
They should have finished like around 4 o'clock. So therefore, the rain should have passed it. You just
I guess they could have, and they could. So yeah, in that case, they could have gotten like those 8 a.m. start times done. Still gone to EPC for the other stuff, but then you're not jamming all of the events. So then you could have done those afternoon events and then have them at their regular scheduled times. But
then Saturday it did not even rain a drop.
Yeah, but it was insanely windy though, because my hotel was in Spruce Grove, and like I walked out and my hat almost blew off my head of the hotel before I headed to EPC to play. So it might not have been raining, but it was like
it'll be fun.
Like if you
It'll be fun for me as a ref calling for.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, it was like Red Deer bad type wind.
Oh man.
Well, actually, probably worse actually, but yeah. So aside from that, I had no issues. Everything was refed, which of course we love. I think I had good refs for all my matches. I think the only one I had I had one where I wasn't sure. But there wasn't really any calls where I was super questioning. I think I only questioned a line call twice the entire tournament, and both of them were more so just because it was really close. So I was just double checking to make sure. Not that I thought it was like blatantly in type of thing. So as far as reffing go, I didn't have a problem with anything. Yeah, other than that, it was normally the Spruce Grove tournament's a well-run tournament. I can't wait till they get their new facility. Where they are going to have, like, what is it, like 40-something courts by the time it's built?
28 outside. The first phase will be, I want to say 15 indoors, and then they will push for another 15 indoors, like a second phase. So total 30, almost 30 indoors, and 28 outdoors.
Yeah, so Spruce Grove, you better be looking to host provincials next year, bare minimum. Come on, like I don't want to drive like 9 or 15 hours.
So let me talk to now about ref perspective. Then I'll get into this. Okay. So ref perspective of the tournament. Obviously, indoors better than outdoors always, because you don't have the wind factor, sun factor, whatever factor, right? So it's easier to ref some ways indoors than outdoors. But obviously when you're indoors, noise is always an issue. So a lot of times we just don't hear out calls. We don't or someone else is yelling, so you don't know what's going on, right? So that could be the issue for us as a ref. Other thing that we find out is there's a lot of waiting time, and that was no fault to the tournament like running. It was EPC overbooking their court while they already know there is a tournament going on, because they're supposed to have at least 10 courts that was allocated for the tournament, but for some reason EPC did book at some other courts while the tournament's running. So they were kind of juggling between 8 to 10 courts in different time frames, especially on Saturday. And there is some teams are actually very kind of really annoyed, because after they play one match on the A side, because they have to catch up so many on the B side, they almost have to wait 3 hours before they play the next match, which as a player I would be very annoyed.
Yeah, like I know my bracket didn't have an issue with that, but we only had 7 teams. Ours seemed to flow pretty quickly. Now, we were on a court for our second game where we got midway through the game and then we had to switch courts.
Yeah, this is annoying.
Yeah, which was a little bit annoying. Like, for me, it doesn't bug me as much, because at EPC, for me, all the courts are pretty much the same, with the exception of the
free
with the
timeout.
exception. With the exception of the one, I think, like court number 1, where it's got that extra box out. So on the one, if you're against the wall on the right side, you have like not as much room behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a pain in the ass if you're like me and like being deep.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, like I didn't have much of an issue. It seemed to be more of an issue earlier in the day than as you got further through, as certain brackets finished and stuff. But the only other thing.
It's still
it's still annoying.
Like Saturday,
and I've been to tournaments where I've had a 3-hour plus wait for a bracket to catch up, because either because of court issues or they started the bracket incorrectly. That happened to me.
They started a bracket that's not even supposed to be, like, you haven't even finished that bracket or go to at least 70% into your bracket. You should technically not start a new bracket until that bracket reaches at that level, right?
Yeah, exactly. The only other issue, well, not issue, it's more of a preference, that Selkirk ball sucks.
It's tough to say. There's not much you can say about that.
Well,
I know
they're
very quickly.
I know they're the sponsor of the main sponsor, and that's why the Spruce Grove tournaments use them. But when it's so, out of all the tournaments in Alberta, there's only 2 that use Selkirk, and that's the 2 Spruce Grove ones. Everyone else uses the Franklin.
Red Deer used Dura, right?
Oh yeah, that's right, and that's horrible.
That's
you know what? I'd honestly rather the Selkirk over the Dura, just because for outside, the Dura is fine inside. I have no problem using the Dura inside, but if there's any wind, that Dura ball is so light that it just catches.
Oh yeah, it's bye.
But honestly, if I'm picking for outdoors, the Franklin ball is the best ball.
Yeah,
because yes, it might break.
Except it breaks, exactly. It breaks like
it might break, but I find spin, power, and all that stuff is more consistent throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's the one who sponsors Pickleball Canada. So realistically, if it's a sanctioned Canadian tournament, they should be using the Franklin ball.
I know, and Franklin has been working. I think they're trying to get the new balls out soon. They actually tried the first alteration was total disaster, but they're actually working on getting the new ball out very soon. From what I'm understanding, it will be very close to what the I would say people has been, if the people had played in the States the Vulcan ball, so that will be something very close to that apparently it's still in development. It's still not out yet, but that would be the ball that they'll be coming out as the new Franklin to replace the X40. So same thing on my end. Obviously, we have quite a bit of out of round issue on the cell card that which we need to replace, and yeah, there's just a lot of waiting time. I think Saturday I finished I was the second last match, and it finished around 11. So which is a long day, which I started at 1 till 11. This is long. And luckily I didn't play, because if I play, I would be non-functional on Sunday.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, like aside from lane, that's like with the ball thing, that's me being more so nitpicky. But once you start playing like 4 or 5 and higher, you start to notice that with players a little bit more. That player now, I never, unless the ball is completely broken, I never go over to the ref and be like, "Oh, I need a new ball." There's a bunch of other players who do that, but
especially some pros. I'm not naming anyone, but anyway.
Yeah, but for me, like I'm so used to just playing. Like I play the most because our club uses Franklin. Because it's funny, because even though we're in a like a rec center, we still use the Franklin X40 just so we can keep up with the speed. We don't use an indoor ball. So yes, you run into the problem. It'll skip a little bit more because it's like, volleyball, basketball court type stuff. But we prefer that, because when we did use indoor balls and then go to a tournament, the speed difference is so much more.
Not
right?
even close. Not even close.
So that's why we were like, okay, you know what? Our club is going to use the Franklin X40s all the time, just so we're used to the speed. We'll deal with the once in a while skipping of the ball on the court. And if anything, that gets you ready for when someone does a really good spin return. So,
yeah, on my ref perspective, this weekend has been pretty good. There's not much of we call it the range player, or the difficult player. Was pretty, most of the time was pretty smooth sailing. I can say.
I heard someone got kicked out though, but it was like the husband of a wife playing in the women's.
Yeah, something like that, but it's not too bad. It was like and anyway, like it didn't warrant it like a technical warning or something like that. So what it wasn't too bad. So
because that was the only one I heard of, but that was like a fan basically, because it was a women's game, and then the guy whose wife was playing was like chirping the ref or something stupid like that. So
yeah, something like that, and then the ref actually warned basically the team, and then obviously when you warn the team, it's like the woman's like, please get out of here. Right, I don't want a technical warning,
that's embarrassing as hell. Anyways, like if you're the spouse of the person doing that, like,
well, which is not uncommon, unfortunately. I heard I was listening to the podcast, the KOTC podcast. Apparently, the juniors are pretty bad right now, especially at the PPA, because not only the juniors chirp a lot, it's also their parents chirping a lot. It's like almost like hockey level.
It's like hockey. Yeah, I was about to say hockey.
Yeah, exactly. So, which is annoying, right? And a lot of those, on top of that, a lot of those junior matches are non-ref, and this is the problem. When you don't have a ref or to control those kids, it can go wild. And if you don't teach them the right manners, once they grow up, they're just gonna catch on those bad manners and just keep on doing it. And this is very bad for the sport. It almost required, actually, for the juniors to require to have a referee in order to keep that under control. Like, when I was in tennis, right? I have tennis background, and I was reffing in tennis. And when I was refereeing in tennis, especially the juniors, I have zero tolerance. And my mentor actually told me you cannot have any tolerance for those for those kids, because as soon as they're gonna reach that national to international level, if they keep their habit that way, they gonna suffer big time, because they
Yeah.
will because those referee will not take anything. They will issue the warning or or the code of conduct right away. So therefore, same in pickleball. If you don't teach them young, they never gonna learn, right?
Yeah. And honestly, that's the same in any sport. As someone who grew up playing multiple sports and has coached basketball, coached volleyball, um, parents got to sometimes sit down and shut the hell up and teach
Yeah.
their kids to stop beaking the refs. Because I know, like, when I was, and then when I used to ref basketball, I didn't take any crap either. And at that time, I was like a 16, 17-year-old, and I was just like, nope, technical, get out. Like, not dealing with it. And like, it was funny because I remember a parent coming up to me after the fact saying, "Oh, you're just trying to establish dominance." I'm like, no, I was like, because if he keeps acting like that, he's going to get kicked off of teams and kicked out of leagues. And then lo and behold, a year later, he gets kicked off the high school team, which was hilarious. And I wish I ran into that parent again. I said, see, like, so, but yeah, like aside from that, yeah, because I know when I was playing, there wasn't really any chirping between teams. Like me, it was funny because me, Cam, Chris, and Jason in the finals were chirping, but it was more so like friendly
Yeah, well,
chirping.
it's different because you guys know each other. So like there's like
Yeah,
friendly chirpiness and
yeah.
there is
It's like,
aggressive chirpiness, right? There's
yeah,
two different type of chirpiness.
yeah,
Like
because
I would say the higher levels usually is more into the friendly chirpiness, because we know pretty much each other in those level, versus I would say for the moment, the lower levels, most of the people are fairly new into the pickleball, and they're trying to a lot of them could be their first tournament, so they don't know how to react to this competition environment, and then could those like aggressive chirpiness can happen, unfortunately.
yeah, it's funny. I don't understand. I've never understood that type of chirping. I was never that type of player when I played high level sports and other spots either. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, the PPA does not help neither, right? If you look at the
Well,
outshone,
that's professional
the
sports for you in a nutshell. Regardless, like you watch NBA too. NBA guys are freaking crybabies. It's pathetic. Um, Same thing
yeah.
with like even you look at some of the stuff that happens in like now hockey is its own kind of thing. But when even when you watch like it, all you gotta do is watch the show Shoresy and you see how hockey players talk to
Oh,
each other, right?
oh
So
yes, like just trash talking nonstop, right?
yeah, right. But no, yeah, it's in all sports, but like there's people who clearly take it too far sometimes, and it's just like they luck out that they're also talented at the same time, but it's those people who also don't a lot of times don't earn the same respect that other players do because of how they behave on the court.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we actually good transition to our next topic, the new UPA, right? New
Yeah.
UPA contracts we're actually talking about. For people that does not know, actually, it was kind of announced quite a bit, but there's not detailed information at that time. Right now, the EPA actually announced uh, the full extent of the contract. So what's going on is the UPA, so the parent company of PPA and the MLP, they used to have we call guarantee appearance fee due to the tour wars. Let's pull back a little bit. About 2 years ago, the MLP does not belong to the PPA, so therefore this is like two different leagues trying to fight against each other. Now, that tour wars is over, because now PPA, the PPA is also with the same league of the MLP, so they merge together. There is some remnants of those contracts still going all the way till 2026. So we talk about 2 years ago, almost like 2024, and then now there is some contract is because it's a 3-year contract. So a lot of those people get paid till 2026 with the old contract. Now, what the UPA is proposing is now they actually break it down in different category. So therefore, first of all, now they have what we call a gold contract, the standard contract, the new player contract, and the future contract. So let's break it down quickly. So the gold contract is obviously people that has been signed by the PPA during those tour wars in 2023, or easy term explanation, the top dogs in PPA. So the Ben Johns, Andy Waters, Catherine Parento, and Upright, etc. Those people, if they sign again now, they will have access to that we call gold contract prize money grid. The next one is we call the standard contract. So those standard contract is for players that still in contract with the UPA during the that is actually signed after the tour wars. So those player could be I'll take some example. I will say probably like Andre Diascu. That could be one. Some newer upcomer. So like we can talk to what can be a newer upcomer. Gabe Tardio is considered technically a stand like in between gold to standard contract, because he was like kind of stuck into the tour. He doesn't know am I signing or not. So that was later on that he signed. So he's kind of in that standard contract time frame. So those kind of the player, they actually have the standard contract, and they only have access to the standard contract money grid. We'll get into the money soon. Neo player contract, so offer to players that actually don't have a contract currently, but if they sign before the deadline, which is the signing window between September 23rd and November 1st, 2025, they have also possibility to have that access to that standard prize money. Then you have the last one we call the future contract, means you don't sign before November 1st. That future contract also only give you access to the future contract prize money grid. You will remain in that contract at least for another 6 months, so you definitely don't get that standard contract prize money grid. And in order to from future to move on to the standard contract grid, you need to be at least top 25 ranking in either single, mixed, or gender doubles, or you need to be at least top 30 in the PPA Tour World Ranking, or you could, the UPA Professional Player Committee allows you to move up. Okay. Enough talking about contract. What's that? What's those money means? Okay, I'll give you a quick example. You have the full table online. You can see it, but I'll just give you a quick breakdown. Okay, so if you have a gold contract and you play on the slams, so the PPA slams. So the PPA slams is the one that has 2,000 points. That's the one that happens in Atlanta a couple weeks ago. So if you're the winner for the genders double, the team gets $90,000 as a prize money. If you look at this way, you're like, oh, that's pretty good. $90,000. That's a lot more than what PPA currently offer. But wait a minute, this is just a goal. Okay, let's see if we go to the standard contract prize money grid. Again, PPA slam. If you win, in a gender double, now the money goes down to $24,000 only for the team. Like that's a significant down. Like that was like almost 3 times the prize money. This is ridiculous. This is not not a lot of money. And they not even pull out the future grid in there. So I'll expect the future grid is even worse. And then let's look at another numbers, which is very important. Okay, you basically only get prize money if you made it to round of 16. If you don't make it to round of 16, you got zero, a big zero. Okay, so even you make it to round 16 in the standard contract, you only get 3,600 for the team. Ouch, that's really low. And
That's
then
not even gonna cover travel expenses.
and the slams you got $6,000. Okay, that's so almost half of it, but still, round of 16, right? Okay, think about a newcomer. I was talking about to Andrew about that. Let's say I'm a newcomer to the pro and I want to play in the PPA. Okay, first of all, because I don't have a PPA ranking, I need to play the quarterfinals. The quarterfinal could be 3 to 4 matches at least. Let's say I made out of that quarterfinals. Okay, usually in those genders doubles, it starts at least round of 64. Okay, so I need to read round of 64. I need to read round of 32. Now I have to make it all the way to round of 16 in order to make how much? $3,600.
Yeah,
If
so
I
you're basically
sign
you're playing anywhere from 6 to possibly 9 matches.
in order to make it
just to get the 3,000. Yeah.
Exactly. So what's the point, right? I'm better off playing at APP or even playing off some money balls games, which I don't even need to play that much amount of games and probably be able to get my money back as soon as I can, right?
Yeah.
And now on top of that, don't forget you have to that $3,600 you have to sign with PPA in order to like the UPA in order to do that. And there is also restriction. Don't forget if you sign with them. Let me list some of their the restriction. Okay. When you sign with PPA, you can only play exclusively with under the UPA umbrella, which is the PPA and the MLP. You have to play at least 15 PPA tournaments. So 3 slams, 4 cups, 1 world championship, 6 open, and 1 international stops at your own fees. They're not going to give you money out of that. And then you need to play at least 6 MLP events. So 5 regular season, 1 mid-season tournament. And then on top of that, they tell you need to play an additional 4 event that you can choose. So either open, world championship series, challenger, international event, or the future MLP events. Basically, you get locked into PPA, and you might not get any money, basically any prize money at all. Why am I doing this?
Now, is this official, or is this like what they're coming out with for negotiations with the players?
This is what they come out with the negotiation for
that's coming out way too hard because half the players won't sign that because, like, for example, if I'm Guangdong, I'd be like, screw that, I'll just go over and play in Asia and make more money that way.
Oh, well, unless he wants to, how I said, he wants to keep up with the pros, right? Because right now the only incentive to play on the PPA tour or under the UPA umbrella is because you have the high level players are playing on there, and you get the repetition in order to get better. That's
but if you're not in that top, if you're not in like the top 15, like what's the point? Because it's like, yeah, well, I'm not going to get paid. I
No.
was like, let's be honest here. Like, if you look at the finals of like what the last 10 or 12, or even the final, let's say final 8 or whatever, it's like the same 10 people
Well, for sure. Well,
every
just
single
look at
time.
look at the finals, right? Men's right now, you're locked in with the four teams, right? The Ben Johns, Gabe Tardio teams, Hayden Patrick Quinn and Fed Stakstrud team, J.W. Johnson and C.J. Klinner, and Christian Alshon and Andre Diascu. This is the only 4 team that always make it to the final 4. You look at the women's, even worse. It's always Annalie. You get in Annalie, you're gonna get locked.
It's Annalie. Well, now it's going to be like Annalie and Bright versus Parenteau and Rottenbacher pretty much every single time.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's like it's the same two. It's the same 2 teams.
It's not even helping, right? And then
So like if you're not
the only way you can break through maybe is the men's single. That right now is like the men's single is actually changing every tournament, but women's single is even worse. You get
it's
Annalie,
it's the same. It's Annalie and then the next like 4 or 5 women rotating.
Exactly. So
right. So if you're like I said, if you're like 15th ranked, like you're making minimal money.
It's not even worth it, I will say. If you're
but that's what I mean. So you're better off doing APP and then maybe doing a bunch of international stuff.
Yeah,
because like pickleball's starting to pick up in the UK now. Pickleball's picking up like massive in Asia. Right, like, geez, at this point, you're almost better off coming to Canada and playing in the CMPL. probably get more guaranteed money that way.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what's going on, and definitely this pay scale structure is only beneficial for the top guys. Basically, if you're Ben Johns, you're and Annalie, that you're laughing right now, but if you're an uppercomer from the PPA, there's no incentive for you to try to sign this contract.
No, yeah, it's like, hey, if I'm going to sign this contract, my sponsor better start paying me appearance fees.
Yes,
or something, or they better be like, I know EULA has a thing. At least I'm pretty sure they have a thing where they like match to a certain extent, like your winnings. But EULA's not going to do that with every pro because they've got so many of the big pros signed.
Exactly.
Right. So like, because they're not like, they're massive, yeah, in the States, but they're not massive everywhere else in the world yet.
No, and that's I was saying I don't like this system at all, because if I just look at tennis, right? That's like that, because everyone's kind of trying to relate pickleball to tennis. If you look at tennis, if you advertise this prize money, whoever that comes in, even you come from qualifier or whatever, you're gonna win this prize money, right? That makes it exciting. That's why you have so many up and comer players want to play, because you're gonna get this prize money if you're able to beat those big dogs,
if you go
right?
if you go on those Cinderella runs, and we've seen a couple of those in the past couple years, where like 125th rank all of a sudden makes it all the way to like the finals or semifinals.
Exactly.
Right, and so that's a massive payday for them. Whereas like if
that give a big incentive, people, oh, I want to try it because now I have the opportunity to make it to that prize money and everything. Versus
but PPA, it's like, okay, if I was 100th ranked, I was like, well, what's the point of me going? Because even if I get all the way to the finals, I'm not getting all that prize money.
Or you might not get zero. You probably get zero because you didn't sign a contract.
Yeah, right. So what was the point of me even going in the tournament, right? So it's just, it doesn't make sense. Because isn't it like once you hit top 50, you have to sign a contract, or you're not allowed to play anymore?
Exactly, something like that.
Because that was what they said about that one guy. Remember in singles,
yes,
he went through and he won, and then he got so high up that he either had to sign a contract or he couldn't compete anymore.
Yeah, and then I heard him talking on Zane Navarto's podcast. He said, "Well, at this point, for me, does not unless PPA is making an exception, he's not going to sign because he still wants more reps. He still wants to have that flexibility. He rather play more APP tournament.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if that ends up being the case, you'll see all of a sudden you'll see the APP get more and more of those pro players, and eventually catch up and surpass PPA, because PPA is just going to have the same like 15, 20 people.
Yes.
Right. So, and then like, but if you're only playing those same 15, 20 people, it's no different than like when we used to how we complain about having little cliques in like Edmonton and Calgary who don't go to tournaments and only play amongst themselves. I'm like, well, at some point you're going to plateau because you're not playing all the new up and comers. You're not playing all these new people coming in who do different shots than what you're used to seeing.
So we'll see. PPA has been kind of notoriously going back and forth also on their things too. So you never know if they see these things are not going south, they probably abandon this philosophy and then change again. So we don't know. Or like you said, or hopefully I would suspect if APP can give more prize money and can actually surpass what how much amount of prize money the PPA is offering, I will see an influx of people moving towards the APP.
Well, even with what they're offering right now, technically, if you're not signed with PPA, you'd still have a chance to win it. You'd still technically win more money if you won an APP event.
True, but
if they go forward with this power play that they're trying to do, right? So
yeah, true. We'll see. I don't. I like this is the like this is how they lay out this structure, but we're still far, right? They still have up to September in order to make to sign those contracts for those new and uppercomer. So things can change if the PPA scene start to see no one signing this, then they probably have to adapt, right?
yeah, like well, I'll say you'll probably see the top 10, unless the top 10 like see, and if I was in the top 10 right now, like if I was, I don't know about Ben Johnson and Anna Lee, but if I was anybody who was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I try to rally everyone to fight against this because yeah, you're in the top 10 right now, but that can change pretty quickly. Then all of a sudden you're locked into this contract, and then all of a sudden you stop winning.
Yeah,
right?
I would say especially the old guys like the Jay Delivier one, like Kelly Joe Smith, Matt Wright, Lucy Kovalova, like those player, I would say, is not in their best interest to sign this contract unless PPA is giving you another side money somewhere.
Yeah, exactly, right. So, yeah, like for me, like I know like in negotiations and stuff, both groups kind of come out hard one way and then you kind of meet in the middle. But like the players have to kind of band together here and make it realistic because like if you give PPA everything it wants, it's the players that are going to get screwed. And the problem is right now they're making it enticing for the top players.
Yes.
But if Annalie and Ben Johns were smart about it, they would be like, no, we're going to stick with everybody, all the players, and make this fair for everyone. Not
I
just,
don't think
okay, I'm just going to go grab my bag because I know I'm going to win at least for the next 2 to 3 years.
I don't think they're doing that when, especially during the tour wars, you can see Ben and Annalie sided with PPA right away. They didn't even consider the MLP at that time.
Yeah, but
so
yeah, I guess we'll see how it all shakes out. I guess, but we'll stay up to date with it because yeah, it's interesting because that like how that goes can also affect how pro goes in Canada. Like so far I'm like we don't know the ins and outs of the CNPL as far as like player contracts and stuff like that, but I got to figure they're better than that.
Well, they have some guarantee cash, I guess, in CNPL, right? And the other thing I think, right, just look at it, like PPA actually have a tournament in Asia and still don't have one in Canada. How ridiculous is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's also the problem with Canada is it's finding a spot to host.
There is spot to host, but is how willing they want to come to Canada, or how willing they really want to make that happen, because they have been talking about having a PPA event in Canada for at least the past 4 years. Like even this year, technically in the schedule, it was placed PPA Toronto, but now it just got canceled. It's
Well,
not
we can
even
all
get canceled.
we can probably chalk some of that up to like the political scheme of things right now with the U.S. and Canada. I'm going to
Yes and
assume a
no, but
bit.
still, yes and no, but still, like, right? We are the closest country versus you going all the way to Asia, right? Like, so for some players, especially now, they have that clause. They have to play one international event. Yeah, having you have to pay for a ticket flying all the way to Asia versus flying to Canada, which you can probably drive. Which
Yeah,
one's more
exactly
exciting,
right.
right? I don't
Because yeah,
know.
but aside from Toronto, where else? Like, and where would it be hosted in Toronto?
Probably at the they used to call the Rexall Center, which is the where they play the tennis, the center there was where they they have the national band open.
Oh, so how many courts are there?
It's mostly tennis courts over there, but they can convert. They have like Pickleball. They can convert them.
Yeah.
There's plenty of tennis court there. Like there's 10 plus tennis courts. So
So if you go 2 pickleball courts per tennis court, you're looking at least 20 to 30
and then you have the
courts.
state, yeah, and then you have stadium court. There's 2 stadium, right? So they
Yeah.
can then stadium you can at least put another 2 to 3, depending on how much you want to put there. So
Yeah,
that's enough.
exactly.
That's a lot of courts you can place in that area.
Yeah, it's more so just figuring out the nuance financials and all that crap about it. Yeah, but yeah, because Toronto's realistically right now, unless Vancouver has a spot, that's really realistically the only place you go. Because is there
Or
anywhere else in
Montreal.
Canada or Montreal?
Montreal.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because I was about to say, I was like, aside
Montreal
from
had
Toronto,
the IGA Stadium, which they have the same thing. The Toronto and Montreal is hosting the National Bank Cup, which one side hosts the men's and one side hosts the women's.
yeah,
So those are the two avenue, that biggest avenue to host a tournament. But at the same time, if you look at PPA, you really don't need that big of an avenue in order to host. You just need 20 plus court, basically.
yeah,
Right? So realistically, if Spruce Grove finish their opening their courts, they could host the PPA.
yeah. Well, let's have them focus on hosting provincials and then nationals in 2026 or no 2027, because nationals 2026 will be back on the east side. But let's get them focused on that first. It would be awesome if 2 years in a row I don't have to travel that far for provincials and nationals. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
be amazing.
Mhm.
All right, so moving on really quickly, we'll cover some MiLP Canada. So IPOP and Burnaby hosted an event June 7th and 8th, so it was actually the same time as the Eastern splits. Now, they did only have Duper 14 and 16, but they still had really, really good turnouts for both of those levels. So we'll give a shout out to the winners. So Ace Holes won the Duper 14, and J Squared IR Smash Society won the Duper 16.
Nice.
The next two events coming up are both going to be in Kirkland, Quebec, hosted by MLT Pickleball, July 19th and then August 23rd. If you guys are wondering where to find that, so you of course can always go to fullsendpickleball.com to see that, or just follow Emily on Instagram, because she seems to be the ringleader for that event.
It's
already been
it's
posting a
actually
bunch.
also on Pickleball tournament if you're wondering how to sign up. So you can look at Pickleball tournaments too.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and then Full Send, of course, is where you go to look at rankings and stuff. The rankings still haven't been, are still only updated as of May 15th, but I've got a feeling they might wait for a couple more of these events to finish before they do another update. So technically, me and Irene are still third and fourth in Duper 20. So
Nice.
unfortunately, nothing in Alberta, nothing in Ontario. All I got to say to that is, what the hell, guys? I want a couple more LP events. Like, I can understand not having one in August with nationals and probably a bunch of other like provincial tournaments and stuff going on. Like I know Alberta's doing their provincial tournament at the end of July, but like I'm assuming there's a couple provinces doing their
No,
provincials.
Alberta is beginning of July, right? It's like in 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, it's July. It's like the 10th or
Yeah,
something.
it's during the week I'm
Yeah.
gone in Montreal. So
Yeah, and I have a family event going on, so I wasn't gonna be able to make provincials. But I know like Ontario provincials are actually gonna happen after nationals, but that's because
Yeah.
Ontario just had a massive thing happen with their board, which we won't get into.
Yeah, that's another story.
That's another story. Maybe if we have maybe in like November, December when we have a little more dead space, we'll discuss the Ontario board issue that was going on. But yeah, I can understand not doing anything in August because like that's like peak tournament time, and of course you have the nationals in the middle of that. But like I'd like to see one in September. I'd like to see one in October. Like let's go, guys. Like especially in Canada, once you start hitting October, November, December, you can't play outdoors anymore.
Snow.
So let's get
especially
that
in Alberta. Forget it.
Yeah, let's get that MLP stuff going. I want to keep my ranking up. And of course
me,
with the of course with the Worlds happening in November. I want to say it's like November 2nd, and you're supposed to be using MiLP to like figure out who can represent like Canada. When you've only had, it's going to be tough. You're just going to have to be kind of guessing because there's only been 2 events in Alberta. There's been 2 at IPOP now, and this is if we're not counting the qualifiers for CMPL because those technically counted as MiLP events. So if we so we'll count the 3 qualifiers, 2 in Alberta, 2 at IPOP in BC, and then now there's going to be 2 in Kirkland. So that's only 9 events, and they're spread out over a way vaster country than what the US is.
Yeah.
So how are you going to pick that team? Because like obviously the people playing in the Montreal ones probably at best they're going to have 3 to work with, right? They'll have the qualifier if they went and played in that, and then the 2 in Kirkland over the next 2 months. People in BC if they went to the qualifier in Vernon will have that, and then the 2 at IPOP. So that's 3 there. And then for us in Alberta, we just have the 2. Now, luckily, me and Irene went to the one in Vernon, so we've done 3. And then Ontario people have only had 1 or 2, I guess. No, just 1. Actually, it was the qualifier in Vaughan.
Yeah, it's just 1. High Sport did. I don't think did High Sport.
Oh wait, was that a qualifier or was no? They did. No, yeah, there was the qualifier. Where was the qualifier?
And then
was that? Oh, London. It was at the London Smash facility. So it's the London Smash facility, and then High Sports did 1. So they've only had 2.
Yep. Yes.
Right. So it's like, okay, how are you going to pick this team Canada?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough
because everyone's so spread out. Like, as if you're just looking at ranking. Well, if you just competed in the Montreal ones and you haven't competed against anybody in the Ontario or in the BC ones, like you would almost need to send a Western Canada team and an Eastern Canada team.
Yeah, to play.
If you think about it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully the organizers get some more events in. Like, there's lots of facilities in Alberta. Like Megacourts, I thought did a pretty good job, and they were really, really good on the social media side of things, promoting it throughout the event. For Calgary, YAG, I liked the tournament. They could have done a little bit better social media work. I know one of the owners who does most of the social media was playing in the event, but still, that should be something that's being posted throughout the day. IPOP does a great job promoting their events, like throughout the tournament itself, leading up to the tournament. And already the Montreal pickleball guys in Kirkland are already doing a good job because they're already promoting it now, and they're still almost a full month away.
Yes.
Right. So, but yeah, so we need more of that. We want this thing to be a thing because, once again, it's a possible cash prize, which most tournaments don't offer. You get swag. There's the chance of getting into the CMPL if people have those aspirations, because they're looking at this now for next year in the draft, right? Yeah. This is literally, it's called minor league pickleball for a reason. It's the minor leagues leading to the CNPL, right? So if you have aspirations for possibly playing pro, or if you just want to have a fun tournament where you play a team style tournament with rally scoring, which is obviously different than what most tournaments are, like this is the thing to go into, guys. So like we need the organizers to pick up stuff. And unfortunately, as much as I would love to be an organizer, I'm up in Peace River. Right. So
it's tough. It's tough.
So it'd be tough for me. Like I could help out on social media side of things. Right. But like no one's gonna come to Peace River to play in a tournament, especially when we don't even have a facility.
Yeah.
Right. So, and there's so many, like I said, so many facilities in Edmonton now. Like there's another thing for Spruce Grove to look at once they get that new facility built with the indoor courts. Get some MLP stuff in there. Try maybe even get some MLP stuff in there, and then look at possibly hosting a CNPL event next year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right. Because like this year we don't have one. We don't have a CNPL event in Alberta at all.
No, unfortunately.
Right. And it's just like, now I'm going to say Alberta crapped the bread on that last year. And it was championship weekend, and they crapped the bed on it last year. But there's other people who can host. Like, put it this way, I like worst case scenario. Like at this rate, Mega Courts is the best option, not necessarily for facility wise, but for they're going to promote the crap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and you already have Cam Layton, who is a featured pro there.
Yeah.
Right, and who's a player in the CNPL. So like, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like this needs to get pushed by the organizers, and coming at and if it's something to do with the issue of, oh well, you know, it takes money to run a thing. It's like we're not making a lot of money right off the top. Well, any new business doesn't make a lot of money off the start. Yeah, you have to build up your rep.
Exactly.
You build up your rep. The better the rep, the more sponsors you can get coming in. Right, the more people are going to start showing up. You have to be on people's minds. Like the fact that now, since Mega Courts, there's not been a peep for MLP in Alberta. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the problem, right? You, especially, we talk about that on our last podcast, especially in Edmonton now. Especially, you're starting to have more and more facility opening up. Might as well I just kind of talked. We near the West Edmonton Mall, in November they will open another facility. I think it's called IQ Tennis, and
they're getting money from Tennis Canada for that, and they're going to be aren't they hosting like the 2025 like tennis like the equivalent of like a Comic-Con but for tennis, like Tennis Con.
Yeah, something like that. Well, they do it every year in the Expo Center, but that's I think it's just the Pickleball Alberta thing. But anyway, but that's their plan anyway. But I think that like I said, you need to be able to find a way to stand out against the other facility. If you don't do that, everyone just gonna look at, oh, that's just courts for me to book. Okay, I'll just pick the cheapest court possible, and that's it.
But if this is the home of the MiLP event, right? So you have an extra thing now that you can get people to come in and go to the facility.
I want to practice in that facility because it will. This is the facility that's gonna host, right? So I better get used to playing over there, and then as you get more people playing in there, you get your community, and people's like, oh yeah, those people are playing and they're gonna compete at the MiLP. Okay, then I better start playing in that facility in order to have reps with those players, so on and so on. But right now this is the problematic I see in some facility, because there's nothing special from that facility that they're organizing. Like people are just basically juggling around just thinking about how just the money, how cheap I can get a court versus on how I can get value in this facility.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's frustrating because example, like when I come down and see you guys, it's like, hey, where are we playing, Vic?
What do you think?
And then Vic just says, okay, we're playing here because I know the guy here, or this is where, or because we're playing with so and so, they got the deal here, so we'll go play there. Like, because me, I'm just like, I just want games, right? Like I don't, and right now I don't have because I don't live there, I don't have a membership for anywhere. So it's just like, okay, where am I playing? Where can we get courts? Is there something featured going on? Oh no, there isn't. Okay, well then who cares where we play? Type of thing,
Exactly.
right? So
So, right, like for new, and that's the like that's why the U.S. model on starting up a pickleball facility is so much better. Like look at Chicken Pickle, they're
yeah,
so successful because they like, oh, not only they can attract you for pickleball, they can attract you for other reasons, right? They can attract you. There is a bar you can do, you they can hold, they have space to host like little a little concert or stuff like that. You can chill out and then play some pickleball at the same time, and they have even professional event going on
that
there,
you can
like
then
the
watch as well, right? So it's
right
almost like going to a sports bar and then they happen to have a live band every Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a very nice model, right? This is amazing. Or you look at the Pickler. The Pickler has like a full a pickleball facility. They have like gyms. They have all this psychology. They have everything is like a full stop shop of pickleball. So, and none of our facility here is offering this, which is disappointing because what's the point opening up a pickleball facility if you cannot offer that full array of service that you
Yeah,
can
exactly.
retain the like the more you can retain the member, and especially if the members say, even though I'm not going to pickleball playing pickleball today, I'm still going to that facility because I want to see this, I want to do this. That makes you successful because now this member does not even spend money on pickleball. It's gonna spend on other things.
Yeah, and that's where I'm gonna give the place that in the GP that technically hasn't opened yet. And they're gonna be in the GP mall, but they're gonna have I think it's like darts, a golf simulator, a bar, and like food there. And then they got the pickleball courts, so it's almost like a social hub with
Yeah, that's
pickleball
nice.
courts, right? And I'm like, now obviously I'll wait to see how it's built. I'll go there and I'll see how the courts are, like if the courts are like decent size or whatever, or if they tried to jam too much into a small space. But that's the right idea. You're creating like a social environment.
Mm.
Right now, unfortunately, GP doesn't have anyone in on the level of where you could say, "Oh yeah, we're going to have some pro level players come in and play." Like say on Friday night, come and have a drink and watch some high level pickleball, right? Because like the highest level player in GP is like a 4.5 player who plays in like almost 50 plus at this point,
Yeah.
right? So, but but yeah, like that. But that's at least the right idea. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like whether or not it gets executed properly, but it's at least like that's why like when I saw the post for it, I was like, oh, that's a good idea. You got a bar, you can get food there. You have like a golf simulator. I think they also have like darts or digital darts or something like that. Almost think of like kind of like things that you see at like Rec Room
Yeah. That's
type of
great.
thing,
That's perfect. That's what you
right? So
want, right? That's
yeah, right.
able to offer the full array uh, um, of service.
Yeah, exactly, right. So it's one of those things where you have to start now going the extra mile. Everyone, like lots of people can now just build a facility that has a couple courts in there. Now it's like, okay, we need a certain amount of courts. We have to have a featured court where we can get some high level play in, or at least that's the championship court when we do host a tournament. But then we also have to have either like a restaurant or at bare minimum some type of like cafe thing where you
Hmm.
can get whether it's coffee, drinks,
Or
maybe
food or whatever.
or yeah, even if it's just like the easiest food imaginable, whether it like like a school like
Yeah.
almost like cafeteria thing where you can basically we'll get like a wrap sandwich or something
Hmm.
like that, right? But now yes, you have to hire people to that. You'll have to get like a food license and all that. So there's extra steps and there's extra costs going into that. But that's the level you're at now where it's not enough just to have pickleball anymore. You need to get more people in there.
Exactly. And if I have the cash, I would just use like all the old Lowe's facility.
Oh, that the one right on what is it, on Stony Plain?
Yeah,
Like
I'm
right by
telling
Red
you,
Lobster and that area, like right by the Walmarts.
it's perfect,
Yeah,
right?
it's a well,
They
and
have a
it's got a big
garden.
enough parking spot. You could do outdoor and indoor courts.
Well, you think about it. They have a garden area, right? They
Yeah,
have a garden area that's like semi-cover. This is your outdoor courts,
yeah,
right? And then you can modify it also to have a, like, let's say, a outdoor space for people to hang out. And
yeah,
then those hangers are those stores are have high ceiling enough. You don't need to modify anything. You just put pickleball courts in there.
yeah, and just make sure you build them around the beam, the load bearing beams, right? It's just
E-
yeah,
Exactly. Just find a way, and then you can put a, I don't know, restaurant somewhere around that.
yeah.
That those are perfect area. I don't know how much it costs. Obviously, I'm not. I'm not expensive. I don't have that much money enough to do
Oh
that.
no, yeah. Oh yeah, if me and Vic had money, like you wouldn't like we'd still be hosting this podcast, but we'd be hosting it from the facility. We'd have our own
Exactly.
we'd have a room where we're sitting beside each other and chatting.
Exactly.
type
That would
of
be
thing, right?
the PBB studio.
Yeah, exactly, right. All right, so before we finish off, Vic, I do have a new blind ranking for you.
Yes.
And this is actually submitted by Jesse Parks.
Oh,
So shout out
here we
so
go.
shout out to Jesse. Everyone go follow Jesse at I believe it's Jesse P is his handle on Instagram.
I think so. Let's take a look. I'll double check.
Jesse Parks. So if you type in Jesse Parks, you see him on there. Jesse's a ref who was he refed one or two of my matches the past weekend. He's an awesome guy, but he's got quite a few in here for me, Vic. So he's going to be supplying
And
a fair bit.
also a good big congrats to him. He got his level 2 referee this weekend.
Oh, right on. Congrats, Jess. Perfect. So yeah. So and for any of our listeners, if you want to submit some blind rankings for Vic to do, just DM me on Instagram at Gorms1307, and I'll give you a shout out when we use yours as well. All right. So for this one, Vic. So this is worst way to lose a match.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Sure.
one being the worst, 5 being the one where you can like, okay, I can live with that, I guess.
Sure.
Okay. So being body bagged.
Body bag or nasty?
We'll say body bag, not a nasty Nelson. That's so like in a rally and you get body bagged to finish for the other team to win the match.
Well, I think it's for a firefight, I'm good with that. It is what it is. Who's fastest, right? I'll put it 4.
4K. All right, and then we have a foot fault.
That's pretty. that's pretty annoying. I'll put 2. I remember me calling someone on a game match ending rally, football point game match.
Yeah,
Oh man, I did feel good, but
even as a ref, you feel bad for that, right?
Exactly.
Net cord winner. So say they drive it and you got your paddle ready and it clips the net, hops over your paddle, ends in the back of the court.
That's pretty annoying too. I'll put it 3.
Miscommunication between you and your partner and the ball goes right between the two of you.
It's your fault, so 5.
And then so that leaves number 1. Your number 1 is, and I think you nailed this, bad line call by the opponent.
Oh, big time! I'm gonna throw that battle on that guy.
Yeah.
Big time. If it's a real bad, if it's a close call, it is what it is. But if it's like couple inches into the playing surface, oh man, I'll be pretty pissed.
Yeah. I've never had a game end on that, but I've had a couple where I was like super pissed. I was like, man, that was like 3 feet in. What are you looking at?
I'll be posting on the social like every day just to make sure that guy sees it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you record all your matches too, so you'd be able to be like freeze frame and zoom in, circle around the ball, and be like, yeah, see.
Exactly. I'll be all over social like every day just to annoy that guy.
Yeah.
So
people
play against me now. Don't make backline calls against me because I'll be all over it.
So yeah, I think you nailed that one pretty good, Vic. Perfect. So I think that's it for this one, everyone. Our next one, we will be doing a preview for the Western Split coming up pretty soon next month, and we will have a special guest on there. We're going to be interviewing Lucas Wong of the Northern Lights for that. So big shout out to Lucas for joining us on the podcast for that. Until then, we will see you guys in a couple weeks. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Follow us on socials, all that good stuff. Anything to add, Vic?
Yeah, I will be heading to Montreal during the July 8th to 14. I'll say 14 or 13, whatever, around that time frame. And I might be meeting a pro down there, so we might have some additional content after that.
Oh,
I'm
awesome.
not gonna say who, but some people will probably guess who it's gonna be.
Perfect. All right, we all look forward to that. Until then, everyone, thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
See you, everyone. Thanks for listening.